y'all, what it is, what it do. It's your girl Brittany. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Patreon, link down in the description box below. All right, y'all, so let's go and get into this mess, this tea. So apparently, allegedly, y'all, makkyla has sat up here and called out Cashy, Landon, and Poodie. She wants to fade them. Now, honestly, for a little while now, I have been keeping my thoughts and opinions to myself when it comes to the dolls, as far as like this topic goes in particular. But let me break this down for y'all, so once I get to my point, you see where I'm coming from. So makkyla ends up calling, like I said, Landon, Poodie, and Cashy out. She feels as though they're speaking too much on her name, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like, I haven't seen them say anything, but they did end up saying that Cashy did say something about her not too long ago. Honestly, in my opinion, if he did speak on her, it probably was like on the episode and what she was doing, you know, and how she's carrying herself on Dollhouse. Probably was it, and that's probably what it was, to be honest. But she took it personal, and she basically is saying that she wants them to set up a bad blood between her and, you know, the boys. She'll fight all three of the boys. She don't have no problem with that. Now, mind you, this is my only thing about the dolls. So I remember when Pookie was saying, like, you know, when you transition, it's a mindset thing first. And, you know, obviously in 2025, with a lot of personal development, a lot of mental health things going, a lot of change your life in 6 months. The last 4 months of the year, you should lock in. Dot this, dot that. And the first thing everybody says is that it's a mindset shift. And I just feel as though the dolls, I always find them comparing themselves to the boys. Whether it be the dolls versus the boys, or who gets more views, the dolls versus the boys. And I'm not necessarily saying that they need to compare themselves to, you know, Young and Reckless or anything like that. But I feel as though they're more comfortable comparing themselves in conversations that involve around men. I just feel as though, you know, if it's a mindset shift, why is the boys? The boy is mine. Like, it's always the boys. When it came to Jelani at one point, allegedly, you know, she was going back and forth with some of the Playboys. Just saying, like, how she needed it, how she was gonna get in the field with some of them because some of them read what she said wrong. I think it was Trey. Her and Trey got into it. You know, it's just, I feel as though this is like the third, maybe fourth time I've seen one of the dolls, or, you know, a group of the dolls speak on the Playboys and, you know, compare themselves to them, or be like, you know, I don't mind getting in the field with a man. And I just think, you know, we've always said, keep thy hands to thyself. You know, you fight in your class, you know, so the boys fight the boys, the T's fight the T's, the G's fight the G's, or whatever. Like, we've always said that. Now, when Cashy was going back and forth with her, Cashy, in the beginning, in my opinion, was definitely trying to be politically correct. You know, he was just like, if you're a girl, I don't fight girls, and, you know, I'm not finna sit up here and go out my way to fight you, but if you do put your hands on me, a soccer-thon will be had. You know, he's just basically saying if she hit him, he's going to defend himself. But he's not going to go out of his way to hit her because, as y'all know, they do have, you know, somewhat of like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of dirt on his name when it comes to the T-Girls, because him and Joyce got defined that time, and, you know, it was caught on a Ring camera of him knocking her down. I think Cashy is trying to get that off his name. So when makkyla called him out, you know, he didn't necessarily want to fight her. He said that he's not going to fight her, but, you know, also too, he has to protect himself, and he's not finna just allow her to say anything out the way to him either, or, you know, keep calling him out for a fade. I understand him defending himself, but also too, I definitely believe that, you know, it's a thin line when it comes to him fighting a T-girl. So I definitely think that he should just pay it. Even if she did call him out, I think it would just be better for him to pay it, you know. and not really pay her no mind. I'm sure he probably won't hit her or anything like that, but like I said, I think it's just better if he pay it, just because it's a thin line between how people will react to him fighting her. Let's move on to Baddies Don't Pose For Me. So as y'all know, they did the reunion yesterday, and I did come to y'all and told y'all my thoughts, but I do have more thoughts just on the whole Baddies and the reunion and everything, because child, really, this really to me was just a piss poor season. Honestly, it probably was one of the worst seasons of Baddies. Okay, probably the worst. I definitely think they probably, y'all know how Zeus is, they gonna elongate everything, they gonna draw everything out, and it's like, get to the point. The fact of it is that if Natalie and DTB was the highlight of the reunion, I just know it's not a good reunion, in my opinion. Very much so. My thing is, we've said time and time again that nobody really cares for Diamond and DTB's beef. So the fact of it is that if Natalie is supposedly, quote unquote, getting her lick back or really putting belt to ass with Diamond, I knew they were desperate for views. I know that they're like, okay, the fans are not just going to want to see Rican, Cole, Fauna versus Dolly, Summer, and Lex. Obviously we know Lex can fight. Obviously we know she putting belt to ass. Obviously we know Dolly and Summer can all defend themselves when it comes to K-Rican, Cole, and Fauna. We all know that Fauna is the best fighter out of them, but then too, Fauna be getting her ass whooped depending on who she fighting as well. So I just feel like it's not gonna be all of that, and I did say that in my last video, but I really do feel like, y'all, it's just wrap this shit up, wrap the season up. This is a throwaway season. Wrap that shit up like today, not tomorrow. And with Rollie too. Now, I didn't speak on her yesterday because she was an afterthought, very much so, but I'm gonna speak on her today. I feel as though with Rollie always does this, like every season. She talk a lot of shit, as the season is going on. But as soon as she gets to the reunion, it's, I love you. I want us to be cool. She does this every reunion, and that be making me mad, and that be pissing me off. Like, girl, you said you weren't coming to the reunion, but yet and still you are at the reunion. Not only did you come to the reunion, I'm sure her and Natalie was kumbaya on that stage. I'm sure, y'all. Scotty didn't fight per usual. I mean, that's just a fact. They said allegedly Russian Cream didn't come. Obviously Choco didn't come. Ivory didn't come. And honestly, the first two were not needed. The Lataya girl, Amber Rose's niece, was not needed. They said that she didn't come allegedly, but those people were not needed. Stunner girl didn't come, was not needed, and I love me some Stunner. But a lot of them girls was not needed. And like I said before, this very much so was a throwaway season. Very much so. Now, they did say that Pretty P and Dolly fought, and Pretty P took her through there. But again, been there, done that, got the receipts to prove it. We've all seen it. Depending on how long they fight, or if somebody need to catch their breath, theirs is always up in the air. But to me, too, that's not a fight that just has me like, I can't wait till the reunion comes. That's just not one of those fights. I definitely feel as though Zeus needs to go back to the drawing board when it comes to who they put on the show. I get it, they was trying to give us new faces and everything, but I don't know who the hell was over this audition call, because baby, when I tell you, they flunked. This was horrible at its finest. Horrible. Now, as y'all know, usually it's Taseki's reunion, but I definitely felt if Ivory would have came, it would have been Ivory's reunion. Ivory could have really replaced Taseki in that light, in my opinion, and that's why they going so hard about Baddies USA, because it's like, okay, we know this season was a flop, and y'all know now, Zeus always kind of rushes to the next season of Baddies, but I definitely feel as though they gonna go hard with Baddies USA. Like, they going out their way to make sure they bring the girls who gonna really give something to Baddies USA, as they should though, because this season was so bad, they have to make up for it. Honestly. But I definitely think, like I said before in my last video, if Ivory would have came, this definitely would have been Ivory's reunion. Ivory could have been the new Tasiki because everybody wanted to see her and Dolly. We obviously wanted to see her and Tavi because Tavi was popping it like she needed that. So, we definitely wanted to see her do her thing. Now, they are saying, that Ivory might not come back to Zeus. And to an extent, and that's alleged information. But to an extent, I wouldn't be mad if they didn't bring her back. See, on Zeus, she's trying to be soft and shit. Oh, so nice, all that extra. Like, girl, get in the paint, fight, beat somebody up. I really don't care to be dealing with all that nice Ivory. She used to tear them girls up on Now That's TV. So tear these girls up on Zeus. When she was going on her little rant, she kept saying, I think Zeus found me when I was a little more mature. Zeus found me when I was a little more mature. Well, become immature to pay your bills. Thank you. Give what you need to give. I know Now That TV is paying her well, but I definitely think, the only reason why they started paying her well is because she went over to Zeus and got a bag. So, obviously, she's not going for anything less than a bag that she was getting over there at Zeus. So, that's why Now That TV is just now paying her better money, in my opinion, because you went over there with a network that was going to pay y'all good from the beginning. They wasn't gonna pay y'all crumbs. They was gonna pay y'all good from the beginning. But again, I definitely think that maybe she needs to sit out a season and see and just see. Sometimes these girls do need to be humbled a little bit. They do be thinking that they bigger than the program. I definitely don't think this was Ivory's season. I definitely don't think that she gave anything this season to us that, was anything. But again, that's how Tasiki was. Tasiki would never give you anything that whole season. But then, turn around and it'll be her reunion. She would eat for the reunion. And again, every time they think they bigger than the program, Zeus always has to show them that the program can continue and will go on. Now, maybe, it don't always work out in Zeus's favor. Because I will say this season definitely did not work out in their favor. This season was horrible by far. But I will say that, maybe Ivory just needs to sit out a season and she could see, hey, be back on the winning team, aka Zeus. You would want to be on Zeus All-Stars. You would want to be on that type of stuff. Like, regardless, y'all can negotiate out your contract. But that's all I got for that little topic. Let me move on to the next. Now, let's get into the new Now That's TV show, The Hookup. So, The Hookup has been getting a lot of talk on the blogs lately. And honestly, I only think that The Hookup is getting so much press is because nothing else is going on. For whatever reason, Cashy is not on live doing the most. Ivory's arguing with Natalie, but who cares about that? So a lot of stuff has calm down this week. I don't know. Maybe it's the first of the month and a lot of people is trying to pay their bills and everything. I don't know, child. But the streets is very low. But what the streets are not low in is the talk of the town, like I said, currently, which is the hookup. So a lot of things are going on the hookup. I thought they were done filming it because they went on the Swayway podcast. So when they went on the Swayway podcast, I thought, okay, maybe the show is dropping next week or, they're done filming. But it seems as though they're still filming it. Now, what put a bad taste in my mouth is when they then brought on Landon and Poodie. Okay, maybe unpopular opinion, but I don't want to see certain people on every show, especially with certain storylines. Like, my thing is, I don't want to see Poodie and Landon everywhere I go, and we're still talking about what they got going on. Mind you, they're not together or anything. They both just know how to be together and make money together. They're not in a relationship. I feel as though we've seen it on Love and War. We're going to see it on Playboys. On this new show, I enjoyed the fact that they brought a lot of people that we really wouldn't care for on Now That's TV. They gave them a chance to show a different side of them. And maybe, this show is not more so about a whole bunch of fighting. This gives more of like a deja vu type of vibe, in my opinion. Now that they've came on, they are going to make it a show all about them. And then we would have to focus on them, because one thing about it, I will get them that they know how to do TV, and they definitely know how to do TV well. But, I kind of don't want to see them. I kind of want to, see some new faces, see Dawn. Okay, fine. I want to see the new face. I want to see Dawn. They said Tokyo been going through a ship. They're crying, I can't take this no more, face ass. And, Kayla up there, I don't mind. Isaiah came. It was just people that we know, but also we don't know them in this light. I prefer that. Pookie even came. I would love to see what Pookie is bringing to the show. She's the only doll there. I personally just don't want to see these two guys in particular on this show. But I know they're going to give it up. I just know, they're going to give it up. They're going to fight. They're going to do it the Now That's TV way. And maybe Now That's TV brought them in so they could do it the Now That's TV way. But honestly, I'm kind of tired of these two dynamics, in my opinion. I'm just tired of it. No shade. But that's all I got for y'all in this one. I love y'all. I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Bye.